So ChatGPT Images 2.0 is officially here. This is OpenAI's brand new image model that is now competing with Google's Nano Banana 2 and Nano Banana Pro. And in this video, you'll see here based on the number of browser tabs, I've gone through a lot of testing for real-world business use cases. I'm not just trying to rush out a YouTube video to capitalize on hype like every other YouTuber does in this situation. So you want to make sure that you watch till the very end, where I'll let you know if I'm deciding to use this or if I'm still going to use Nano Banana 2. And if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. My name is Ryan. I'm a six-figure AI entrepreneur, and I've been in the marketing industry for over a decade now. And if you want to know my favorite AI tools, automations, and even some of my Claude Code skills, be sure to get my free AI Marketing Essentials Guide. You can find the link for this in the video description or pinned comment below. So this is OpenAI's official page on the GPT Image 2.0 model. I'll leave it in the video description below if you want to take a look at some of the examples and just some other details, but I'm not going to bore you with that stuff in this video. I do want to call out though, is that on the LLM Arena leaderboard, which is a very popular resource that compares various AI models across different categories, I do notice that the GPT Image 2 model is ranking number 1 in the text to image arena category above Google's AI image models, Nano Banana 2 and Nano Banana Pro. Now, of course, this is subjective, and I actually have some tests here that I'm going to show you and then give my own thoughts on my real world situations if this new GPT Image 2 model outperforms Nano Banana 2. But the other thing that I want to talk about before I do that is the pricing. GPT Image 2 is actually cheaper than both of the Google Nano Banana models with Pro and Nano Banana 2. I'll leave this API resource in the video description below, but I went ahead and asked AI, even asked Google Gemini. I thought it was going to give me some biased response and push Nano Banana 2 here, but it even said here that OpenAI GPT Image 2 equates to about 4 cents an image, and Gemini 3.1 Flash image, aka Nano Banana 2, is almost 7 cents per image. So it's about 40% cheaper than Nano Banana 2, but if you do use batch processing, it says Nano Banana 2 becomes cheaper than OpenAI's standard model, although I'm not sure how many people are going to be using batch processing. So not only is the quality there, as I'm going to show you here in a little bit, but the pricing is also there with Google's Nano Banana 2. So now it's up to Google to come back with a better model here, probably in the near future, to compete with OpenAI's latest image model. So when it comes to using this new ChatGPT Images 2.0 model, there are several ways that you can use this. And obviously the first one is inside the ChatGPT web app, even for free users. But there's a very important distinction here. According to OpenAI's page, it says advanced outputs with thinking are available to ChatGPT Plus Pro and business users. So I am on a ChatGPT Plus account, and essentially what that means here, so I'm going to X out of this, to go ahead and generate an image with this model, all you need to do is click the plus icon, create image. But the big difference with thinking here is that if I click this drop down on the top left, you'll see I have a thinking option. And if I click that, I can choose between standard thinking and extended thinking. Now, this is different than OpenAI's previous models where you couldn't attach thinking mode to the actual image generations. And I do think that this makes a big difference, especially when you're talking about more sophisticated images like, let's say, infographics or YouTube thumbnails or any other convoluted designs, I would say. So that's the first way that you can use this inside the ChatGPT web app. Another way that you can use this is through the API. Now you can go into OpenAI's official API platform, get your own API key there and whatnot. But I use a tool called OpenRouter. This is just kind of my middleman for just one API key. I can access any AI model I want right from one API key. And they've already added this right inside their platform. So if you sync up an OpenRouter account, I'll leave that tutorial in the video description below with maybe your Claude Code setup, you can access this model from within Claude Code. And speaking of a local setup, another way you can access this new ChatGPT image model is actually through Codex. This was generated right inside Codex, and Codex does come with a $20 a month ChatGPT Plus subscription. Not to mention your usage on Codex is a lot better than what your usage is on Claude, whether it's the $20 a month plan or even the $100 a month max plan in a lot of use cases. So you'll see here I generated a very high quality YouTube thumbnail, in my opinion, that I might actually use for this video right inside the Codex app. So I first wanted to explain kind of how you can use this new ChatGPT Images 2.0 model, but now let's look into some real world outputs. So whenever a new AI image model rolls around like this, one of the first things I always like to test is the photorealism aspect of it. And here all I did was I prompted create an image of a photorealistic high-res image of elephants in Thailand. And you'll see here, obviously this looks very realistic. This isn't anything new in my opinion, as the recent AI image models can also create images like this. But one thing I do notice is there's no visible watermark on these images. Yes, I know there's an invisible watermark, but when you compare that to something like outputs from Google Gemini with its Nano Banana models, there still is a visible watermark right here on the bottom right. Yes, I understand there's watermark removers. You can add it to Photoshop, Canva, and remove it there. But that's one additional step that I often don't like to take sometimes. And again, if I look at that same example, I said, create me a photorealistic high-res image of Des Moines, Iowa, which is the city where I live. Yes, there are a few flaws in here just from quickly looking at this, but it is a lot better in this situation when comparing it to previous AI image models from OpenAI. Now, let's look at a more real-world business use case here where I want to create an infographic based on a piece of content that I've already created. Now, I've uploaded my Ryan Dozer logo here because I want to make sure I have that branding and the logo on the infographic. And I did give it a title. I just want to add some context here versus just saying, here's my article, go. You don't never want to prompt AI like that. And then here I gave it the actual URL of a blog post on my website. And here's what it came back in the first iteration. Now, not bad, right? That's pretty good, especially compared to previous OpenAI image models. But then I said, make sure the text is easier to read. I only want my logo once on the top left. And boom, that is a much better infographic than what the previous OpenAI image models could generate. That is something that's very shareable, in my opinion, on social media. And I would have to run a few other iterations to perfect this. But, from a two prompts here, not bad at all compared to what we saw previously. And if we look at another infographic example, this time I gave it another article. I still gave it my logo. And then this is what it came up with here. I actually like this one better. I think it's more visually appealing. The text is all spelled correctly. The logos, for the most part, are put in there correctly with Grok, Perplexity, Claude, Google AI, ChatGPT, some of the other logos and icons that it created. So the fact that we can now create thumbnails with OpenAI's image models and not just relying on Nano Banana, I think that's a huge unlock here. And if we look at one more example, this is probably the best example here that I have, is I said basically create a visually appealing infographic. Again, I gave it my logo for branding references and I want it on the infographic. And then I gave it a YouTube video URL. I did not give it a website URL. And it did come back with this, which not bad, right? The logo's there correctly. It's on brand, the text, etc. But I said, not bad, don't make this as text heavy. And then it came back with this. This is a very high quality thumbnail, in my opinion. So now I'm going to adjust my workflows here where I was using Google's AI image models before for this, where if I publish a YouTube video, I can now just throw it into ChatGPT or use the API and have it create thumbnails that look just like this. And the best part is I can create a skill markdown file so that way I can use the API key and then have that infographic skill generate consistent on-brand, high-quality AI infographics after repurposing my own YouTube videos. Now, one use case where I use AI image models all the time is designing YouTube thumbnails for my channel. I often A/B test a lot of those thumbnails with thumbnails from my actual designer. And I would say that this new ChatGPT Images 2.0 model really impressed me with the quality of YouTube thumbnails that this is creating. Now, this was very text heavy. This was the very first run that I did with this. very text heavy. This isn't bad. I mean, this is obviously usable here, but I didn't even want that extra text on the bottom. So I came back. And then this was kind of that last iteration of the first thumbnail example that I did. That's a very high quality YouTube thumbnail, in my opinion. But if we want to take this even a step further here, I found a thumbnail from another YouTuber on this topic, uploaded my headshot, and I said, okay, insert my headshot and keep mostly everything else the same here. And then here we go, right? So here's the actual headshot. Here's the new thumbnail. So you can definitely do that as well. But that's still not the best, in my opinion, right? And so now what I did is I took one of my previous YouTube thumbnails on my channel and I just gave it very simple instructions. I said, replace the text with new ChatGPT Images 2.0, but I also told it to update the background to better reflect OpenAI's new model. Here is the result that I got. I was very impressed with this output, right? It changed the text, which isn't anything new, but it also updated the background, and it doesn't really look like hokey, in my opinion, compared to what we see with a lot of AI-generated images. But what was also cool about this is I said, make me another variation with this headshot that I can A/B test. So then it threw in this headshot. Not perfect, right? There's a couple things down here where it's prompting stuff, and on the left, I don't know if I would use this. So I said, okay, now let's throw in another headshot and see what you can do here. And then here's the other AI YouTube thumbnail that it generated that I'll probably actually use and A/B test this. The text looks on par. My headshot looks very crisp and high res. The images here look very crisp. I just really like this actual thumbnail design versus its previous AI models. And if we compare this to Google's Nano Banana Pro or Nano Banana 2, on the exact same thing here in the Gemini app, I'm on Gemini Pro for $20 a month. Basically, I said the exact same thing. Generate me a YouTube thumbnail based on the thumbnail, replace the text with the new images. I even gave it some context on OpenAI's new thumbnail. And then here it came back with this. Obviously, we have the watermark. Looks like we have, mentions of DALL-E 3. I don't really like this. It's pretty much the exact same images as what I gave it on the original thumbnail. There's not a lot of creativity there. And then same, I said, make me another variation with this headshot that I can A/B test. Completely blew this away, right? This is terrible. So it definitely didn't follow instructions when I gave it another headshot and wanted something else that I could A/B test. And that's just a quick tip here that I would tell you guys is that when you are creating YouTube thumbnails, you don't just want to give it the YouTube video URL and give it some context and say go. Although this isn't terrible, what you actually want to do is download the thumbnail image, upload it to ChatGPT, give it your context, and boom, notice how much better that the quality of this is compared to what I just showed you. Like, that's a very high quality thumbnail in my opinion. And of course you can come back, you can add headshots, you can change the text. Like, I'm going to add headshots here. And of course not all these are going to be perfect and whatnot, but you guys get the point here, right? On the topic of just YouTube thumbnails alone, I'm definitely going to be using this now, as I did another example here. I'm definitely going to be using the GPT Images 2.0 model for YouTube thumbnails instead of wasting my time previously like I was on Gemini or even using the Nano Banana 2 image model via API in my Claude Code setup. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm not going to spend my time on ChatGPT like I'm showing you here. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be using the Codex app. So inside VS Code, I have both Claude Code and OpenAI's Codex, which is their AI coding agent. And I'm going to be using Codex to help me generate YouTube thumbnails. And the reason is I can actually use some of my skill markdown files for YouTube thumbnail designs, infographic designs, blog featured image designs right inside Codex in my IDE versus going back and forth between ChatGPT. So I know I keep rambling on here, but I do see a lot of potential, and I really like the upgrades of the ChatGPT Images 2.0 model when it comes to YouTube thumbnails. I think it's super high quality. So now I want to hear your thoughts on ChatGPT Images 2.0 model in the comments below. And it's about time OpenAI came out with some update that was better than what Google or Anthropic came out with, as I'm super impressed with what this new image model can generate versus Google's current AI image models right now. Now, I'm sure Google's probably working hard to ship an updated image model as I'm speaking, but at this time, I am going to be using this new image model for some of my workflows as I was using Nano Banana 2 before. But if you've made it this far into the video, I truly appreciate you. Be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to show your support. But most importantly, I hope you all have a great day.